something happened in Star Wars recently that made my brain do a double take. You know those moments where you're watching and thinking, wait, did they really just do that? Well, that was me staring at the screen trying to process the fact that Sabine Wren basically handed Grand Admiral Thrawn the keys to the galaxy like it was some kind of casual favor for an old friend. And look, I get it. Nostalgia, loyalty, feelings. But there's a fine line between brave and catastrophically reckless. It's wild because on paper, it sounds like the ultimate reunion. Ezra's been gone for years. Fans have been theorizing about his fate since Rebels ended. And here comes Sabine charging into another galaxy, like a Mandalorian freight train, powered by hope and questionable judgment. But instead of a triumphant homecoming, we get the kind of decision-making that would make even Jar Jar Binks say, maybe slow down there, Chief. What really blows my mind is how the show frames it. They treat this whole rescue like it's the galaxy's feel-good moment of the year. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there doing the mental math on how many planets are about to get leveled because someone couldn't think 2 steps ahead. It's like throwing a surprise party for your best friend and accidentally inviting their worst enemy, who also happens to own a Death Star. And don't even get me started on the New Republic's complete lack of presence in all this. You're telling me no one, not one person, thought to maybe put a tracker on the hyperspace ring the size of a small city. The incompetence here is so baffling, it almost feels intentional. Like the galaxy is just daring Thrawn to make a comeback so they can all act shocked when he does. But let's be real. As much as I'm roasting Sabine here, there's also something painfully human about it. We've all made a choice where our heart completely steamrolled over our brain. Maybe not galaxy-level consequences, but the principle is the same. You know, deep down, it's risky. You know it might blow up in your face. But you do it anyway because you can't bear the thought of not trying. In this video, we're going to break down exactly why Sabine's rescue of Ezra made absolutely no tactical sense, how it gave Thrawn the perfect opportunity to return, and what that means for the galaxy going forward. We'll dig into the emotional weight, the political fallout, and yes, the moments that made me yell at my TV like a maniac, so buckle up, because this isn't just a bad plan. It's a Star Wars disaster dressed up like a happy ending. It had all the makings of a Star Wars payoff that fans had been imagining since 2018. And yet the more you think about it, the more you start to wonder if the entire plan was held together by duct tape and blind faith. Ezra was stranded in another galaxy with Thrawn, which already sounds like a mission that should involve the most careful strategy possible. But Sabine essentially gets one lead, takes it at face value, and runs off without any sort of backup or escape plan. It's like if Han Solo decided to storm the Death Star by himself because he saw a vague radar ping. That's not heroic, that's a speedrun to disaster. Even the way she partners up with Baylan and Shin feels bizarre. These are obvious dark-side-adjacent mercenaries with their own agenda. And Sabine just says, sure, let's hop aboard. It's not curiosity that drives that choice. It's like the writers were so determined to get her on that ship, they skipped over the part where she should be suspicious. Star Wars loves odd alliances, but this one is basically an open invitation to betrayal. And then there's the whole galaxy-hopping aspect. Traveling to another galaxy should be an epic, borderline impossible task that requires the New Republic's top minds. Instead, it's treated like a road trip with questionable GPS directions. She doesn't even seem worried about how to get back, which, by the way, becomes the entire reason Thrawn returns. The curious part isn't just why Sabine makes these calls. It's how the story lets her make them without anyone around her throwing up a massive red flag. No Jedi caution, no New Republic oversight, just Sabine winging it like she's late for a coffee date with an old friend. Here's where the blood pressure starts going up. Sabine's decision-making in this whole thing isn't just questionably, it's infuriating. You've got Ezra trapped with the most dangerous tactician in the galaxy, and instead of coming up with a plan to stop Thrawn, she delivers him the one thing he needs to escape. It's like someone breaking into prison not to rescue a friend, but to give the warden the master key. The frustrating part is that Sabine knows who Thrawn is. This isn't some rookie who's never faced Imperial power before. She literally fought him in Rebels, saw him outthink the entire Rebel alliance, and yet somehow she doesn't stop to think maybe bringing his Star Destroyer back home is a bad move. There's reckless, and then there's actively making your enemy's to-do list shorter. What really hits hardest is how this decision tarnishes Sabine's arc. She's a character we've seen grow from a hot-headed Mandalorian rebel into someone capable of standing alongside Jedi and leaders. And in one storyline, all of that maturity feels stripped away. It's like watching a friend relapse into the worst version of themselves after years of progress. There's something sad about how little weight the story gives to the consequences. When Ezra finally returns, there's no deep moment of realization about what Sabine had to trade to make it happen. He's happy to see her, but the specter of Thrawn's return hangs over it like a storm waiting to break. That joy should feel bittersweet, but the show leaves it oddly wanting. The galaxy suffers for this choice, and Sabine doesn't get the space to wrestle with it. We don't see her struggling with guilt the way we've seen other Star Wars heroes reckon with their mistakes. Even Anakin, for all his crimes, had moments of doubt and regret. Sabine gets to keep moving like nothing monumental just happened. What's worse is how it cheapens Ezra's sacrifice from the Rebels' finale. He didn't just vanish into the unknown for Sabine's benefit, he did it to take Thrawn off the board. That move was brave because it was selfless, and this rescue, as emotional as it is, undoes the very point of it. And so we're left with this lingering sadness. Not because Sabine saved Ezra, but because she saved him at the cost of everything he fought to protect. If there's one thing you can't deny, it's that Thrawn's return is chillingly effective. When that Star Destroyer emerges from hyperspace, with its patched hull and eerie silence, it's a moment of pure Star Wars spectacle. You can almost hear the Imperial March in slow motion as he steps forward. That visual alone tells you the galaxy just got a lot more dangerous. His tactical mind is on full display immediately. The way he maneuvers his forces, the precision of his orders, even the way he speaks, it's all calculated intimidation. Thrawn doesn't just want to win, he wants to control the tempo of the fight, so his enemies are always 2 steps behind. And Sabine's rescue of Ezra is exactly the variable he needed. You almost have to admire how the guy plays the long game. Trapped in another galaxy, resources dwindling, and he still manages to turn the arrival of a would-be rescue mission into the perfect escape. He uses Sabine's desperation like a lever, prying open the door back to the galaxy. That's the kind of villainy that feels unstoppable. Thrawn's return might have been inevitable, and Sabine's actions could be the spark that forces the New Republic to take the threat seriously. After all, nothing motivates Star Wars heroes like a common enemy looming over the horizon. Ezra is back, and that's no small thing. He's one of the few Jedi left who understands the stakes on a personal level, and his survival means there's still a chance to counter Thrawn's plans. The bond he shares with Sabine might even become the key to undoing the damage she caused. We've seen the galaxy pull off the impossible before. The Rebels took down the Death Star with a handful of starfighters. The Ewoks of all people helped crush the Empire's greatest weapon. In Star Wars, underdogs have a way of turning disaster into victory. Sabine's guilt once, she inevitably faces, could push her into making braver, smarter calls next time. Star Wars loves redemption arcs, and this could be the moment that shapes her into someone who learns from her mistakes, instead of repeating them. So maybe this isn't the end of the story, maybe it's just the setup for the fight that finally puts Thrawn down for good. And yet, there's a haunting finality to what's been set in motion. You can hope for redemption, you can believe in underdogs, but the reality is that Thrawn is back, and the galaxy is already worse off for it. One act of compassion has opened the door to 1,000 acts of cruelty. Sabine's choice will ripple outward in ways she can't predict. Worlds will burn, alliances will fracture, and history will write this moment as the turning point when the Empire's shadow returned. Her name will be tied to it, not as a villain, but as the one who made it possible. That's the kind of legacy no hero wants. Ezra's joy at being rescued will be tempered by the war that follows. Every victory they win from here will be in the context of the enemy she freed. That's a burden he'll carry alongside her, whether they acknowledge it or not. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that share button. My main channel is Critical Analysis Hub, where I post Star Wars content about the movies. My secondary channel is Critical Analysis Hub Plus, where I focus on the shows of Star Wars. And my third channel is Critical Analysis Hub XP, where I post comic books. Be sure to take a moment and check them out. Thanks, and may the Force be with you.